Friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 105 of A Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Okay friends, let's chat about some finished objects. Well, one finished object, one 93% finished object. That's a good percentage. A new cast on, which I have questions about, some whip progress, spin update, flock plans. Yeah, and let's get into it. I may be filming in two parts today. It depends on how long this takes and when my mother-in-law is ready to leave. But I am taking some half days this week to hang out with my kiddo. My mother-in-law is here helping us, but she's not used to the full days with Theo. So we're helping each other out around here. So I am going to start filming because they're doing some stuff and we'll see how far I get before we have to go take Theo out of the house to get her some energy out. So let's jump right into it. Today, I am wearing something that's old. This is a finished object from like April or March maybe. This is my Avenue tee by Tori Yu. I am not going to wear this one at Flock, but it is one of the patterns that many people knit for our knit along for Flock. So if you don't know what that is, we did a joint knit along, me, my friend Emily, who is Gently Chaotic Knits, and Ariel from Airy Knits here on YouTube. So we're all in a knitting group here. We'll all be hanging out together at Flock, and we decided to do a fun little knit along. Last year I hosted one just by myself for Emily's patterns. She's also a designer. But this year Ariel and I knit a ton of Tori Yu patterns. We do a lot of tests together, so we thought that would be a fun one. Plus she has some really great summer knits. You can knit any of her patterns, and we have people joining us from across the world. There are some prizes. I need to get the prize form up into the Discord today, but people have, you know, a few days to fill it out before it's going to be due, and then we'll pick some stuff, and we've got some fun prizes. We've got one pattern for each winner from Tori Yu. We've got, I think, some possibly patterns from Emily also. I think Ariel is spinning some yarn for this. Our friend Sylvan, who has a lovely stash like mine, is giving away some yarn, and I also have some yarn to give. So that's exciting. And I'm very excited for that. Anyway, this one, let's just share a couple of details so you remember. I'm assuming editor Megan will have already put this picture up here of me standing where this, so I don't have to adjust camera and stuff. I feel like the camera's a little high this week, but this chair, I got a new chair from Costco, and it's a little higher than my last one. So I'm kind of we're playing with some stuff today. You know, micro adjustments as always. I got a chair though that doesn't have any arms and is a little wider so I can cross my legs, because I typically sit with like at least one leg crossed under me all day long, and chairs with arms make that a little bit harder, and I don't need the arms because then I like do a weird posture stuff. So we're trying this out. I like it so far, in case anyone was wondering. Desk chairs I feel like are a hard thing. You just sit in them for so long, like you just need to get new ones on occasion, and that always feels difficult. Okay, sidebar. Okay, I made, for this is a size 5. It's supposed to be 48 inches across the bust. The recommended ease for this is 1 to 4 inches of positive ease. So that, for me at the time was like 1 inch. It's a little bit closer to 2. I will say I think this has grown with wearing. I don't feel like as much my Salty Air tee has, but I just washed that and it does feel like it's fitting a little bit better again. So like maybe I just need to wash this one. I never wash my knits, but it is, I mean, it fits similarly to how my picture is. There's a little bit of, you know, a little bit of room. If I hold my arm out, there's more, but it like does fit across my bust nicely. Anyway, the measurements I had at the end were 48 inch bust, hem to underarm, or sorry, other way, underarm to hem, 10.5 inches, sleeve length from underarm to cuff of this, you know, this part here is 3.5 inches, upper arm circumference 16 inches, which I actually think like that feels bigger than that. I guess the bottom part of my, like by my elbow is not that big, but my upper arm is pretty big. My total body length is 23 inches. It is quite deep to the armpit, but not, it doesn't feel like it's saggy. Do you know what I mean? And then the V-neck depth from back to the lowest point is 7.75 inches, which is a good amount, but it does not feel like there's really any cleavage. So this one's so easy to put on. There is a crew neck version. I'd like to make the crew neck version, but honestly, I think I'd probably pick another V-neck over making the crew neck version first, because I wear this one a lot and I really like it. This is alpaca linen silk in the base is called Stratus fingering from Horizon Fibers. She was taking a break from dyeing a little bit this summer, so I don't know if she's still back. There's other dyers that have this. Back Loop was one of them. I think Woolberry is the same. Her like summer linen or whatever is the same base. I will say, I told you I'd let you know after wearing in the heat. I do feel that the linen is a little, maybe it's the alpaca, is a little bit more prickly when you're hot. Actually, you know, I think it is the alpaca because I wore my merino linen, which is 20% linen, and this one is 25%, so not a big difference. But I wore my Queen's cami on Tuesday at night, and it was pretty warm out for a couple hours, and that is a V-neck also, but it's a tank top, and I did not feel like that was any kind of prickly. So maybe it's the alpaca when you're hot, just like, yeah. I think it's fine. I'm not super sensitive. I just am more aware of it. So just so you know, if you're a sensitive person, maybe this is not the greatest base when it's hot. When it's like springtime though, I've had no problems. Okay, so I enjoy this one. This is not one I will be wearing to flock. But that's okay. Let's talk about my finished object for this week. You guys you're not gonna be able to handle it. I finished this on Sunday night. And then she finished drying. It was like Saturday night, and she finished drying on Sunday, and I stuffed her. And this is Nanna the duck. Are you ready? You're not ready because she's so cute. She's so cute. Okay, I brought her to knit night on Monday, and everyone was dying. She's really adorable. This is Nanna the duck. This is duck number 1 of at least 2 I'll be making this year. Theo wants one, so maybe 3. She was so fun to make. She was really easy. Really easy being relative. The instructions were exceptional, and I don't think it was hard to understand. It's a bit tricky to execute just because there's a ton of short rows. So let's talk about the construction. So last week when you saw her, she had her arms done. She had a little bit of body done and her head was done. So most of these animals, I think all of them maybe, are knit top down and really like nose down, however that works out for the head, so that you can do short rows for shaping and you can have just a single seam. So there's no, it's seamless. Everything is just picked up and knit. We'll talk about, a couple of different things I got to do this week to finish her. So to start, I started with like a Turkish cast on for her nose, her bill, knit the head with a bunch of short row shaping. I found it really engaging because the short rows, like most of the time it's like less than 15 rows before you switch instructions and do something different. So you're constantly doing something different, which is nice, but you do have to read the whole time you're doing this. So, you know, if you are a person who likes more mindless, and this is not a mindless project at all. Then as you go into her neck, you join back in the round and you do some shaping there as well. And then I did, because the wings were done, you saw them. You do wings at the time, like as you're going top down. So you sort of split your body and your wings and you cast on a couple stitches and then you do the wing and then you pick those up. And, you know, that's kind of how that works. One really cool thing about construction here is that she knows the right yardage, which is crazy. It was like just 3 yards, I think. Something like you pick out a certain amount after you do the first finger, which is the smallest one, and then, or finger, but like her little feather, and then you just pull through the wing and then you start knitting again. So you don't have a bunch of ends in the wing, which is genius. She tells you how to do finishing around, like some of them are knots, some of them are sewn down, you know, like there's all different kinds of instructions. And then when you do the body, you just do increases essentially. until you get to, her butt is so cute. That's why she can sit so good. When you get to her butt, you are doing like a different rhythm of increases. There's not short rows there. You're just doing more increases along her butt, and then not much along her tummy. And then you put stitches on hold. Well, you don't put them on hold. You just put like a scrap, you put a scrap yarn through certain stitches, and then you continue on, and then you do essentially it's sort of like a heel here. And you do decreases to do her butt. You do her legs first though. I don't remember the order, but anyway, so you also then just stop and put things on hold, and you do her little leg, which was really fast, like for some reason, because the sleeve is, or the wing is like, you know, again, instructions are really short, but it was a lot more knitting for this, and for some reason I thought her like foot would be long, but it was not. It was like just a couple rows, then you color change, and then you do like a tiny sock. Like the tiniest sock. I mean, it's like 10 rows, and then you make a heel flap, and then you, I mean, like, it's really crazy. I was like, at first I was like, what is happening? And then once I got towards the end, I was like, oh, I've just made the tiniest sock. So you get 2 tiny socks, and they kind of have duck shaping, you know, they've got a little bit of like the pointed thing. It's just, you know, you don't have like the veins on the web, which I feel like would be a little bit too realistic for this guy anyway. But so then you go back, and you pick up, you can do it, you do it before it's like filled, but you go back and pick these up, and you just knit, like they're non-stuffed. There's no opening of this into the, you know, into her butt or whatever, and you're just making little tail feathers. They're so cute. You just make 3 from that placement, and it's perfect, and they're so easy. So then you know, once all the legs and things are done, you literally just have a hole. So you wash her. I washed the dress. No, I washed her first, and I laid her out, and then I started the dress. And this is all scrap yarn from various scraps I have laying around. I think the only one I wound was this gold, because I didn't have like a good gold out right now. That was in fingering weight. It's all fingering weight, held single. You might recognize this. This is one of my Doppio colors here. Otherwise, yeah, just scraps. A lot of these I think are like probably Woolberry or Sorella scraps. Anyway, there is some short row shaping in the dress so that it sits on her little belly. And it was really easy. Every stripe is the same, so that was not hard. I did have to kind of like look at instructions for the first 2 or 3 because they go by so fast. You're like, wait, am I going to remember what to do next? But I had a good time knitting this. I knit like half of it or most of it, probably most of it, while watching The Boys on the Boat with Mike. That's what we watched this weekend. We had both never seen it. It's a great movie. And yeah, so yeah, I really enjoyed making her overall. Nanna the duck, she's so cute. So yeah, then I wash her dress, and you have to pin it because it does want to curl just with the way the ends are. And I sewed it together before I like blocked it and everything. Once she was done blocking and everything was dry, that probably took, I mean, probably just over 24 hours, or just about 24 hours. So like during Theo's Sunday nap, I think I stuffed her, and I was concerned about sewing up this little hole, and I was like, oh, is it going to be like really noticeable? Like, her instructions just say sew it up. There's not really a method. I whip stitch across because you have to go back and forth, and then there's a way to get rid of the ends that she does describe. And her feet are in the way, but you can see in her tiny crotch, you really can't even notice it. It is just the only seam on her whole little body. It was so easy to do. I'm really excited to do other ones. I think this answers my question though about like ears and stuff. So like ear placement, I think is going to be like this, where you just put some yarn, you do other shaping or whatever, and then you can go back and you can pick up those both sides of where the ear will be. So I assume that's what's going to happen. But yeah, I think her eye placement looks great. If anyone's interested in knitting these and wants some other tips, somebody who had watched my podcast last week put a comment with a ton of tips other ways to knit it, you know, like flexi tips and other kinds of needles. I don't have any of those. So like, I mean, yes, there's tons of ways you can knit whatever you want to use for small circumference. I just don't use DPNs, and I don't have like any flexi tips or whatever those are called. But you could also do it with like 3 needles. Like there's lots of methods, right? Whatever's comfy for you. Yeah, but I'm overall really pleased with her. This dress, I tried to match the colors from the picture. That was the request of my friend who I am knitting this for, who I knit this for. Similar, I think similar vibes, similar colors for the second one too, for her dress. So Nanna the Duck is done. This is a pattern by Cynthia Valet. I don't know if I said that. You guys, I did not realize, I think I knew this from many months ago when I looked at the class schedule, but she's going to be at Flock this year, and she's going to be teaching a class on like the face, to make face expressions, because I think that's a really hard one to do. I did not, I mean, I made her like little, you can see her little mouth, and she has kind of a smile. This one's easy because the bill gives you like, it's flat, like I just picked the middle line. But yeah, I could see this being a little difficult. So yeah, anyway, she's teaching a class, and it's not like I'm gonna probably see her, but I am gonna have this in my bag. So maybe I'll take a picture with her and Nanna the Duck. I don't know. So yeah, she's done, and I love her very much, and Theo loves her very much. And so I did tell her, I was like, if you want one of those, that's not going to be the first one mommy makes you, but I'll make one. Okay. Let's talk about the second thing that I mostly finished. So 93% done, because this is still wet and I don't have buttons yet. But if that is something that you may be able to guess, Theo's mini Battenburg is done. Oh my gosh. I had a great time making this, actually. I think overall this was one of the more fun crochet things I've made in recent memory. Being that I've done a lot of crocheted baby blankets recently, I haven't done any garments crochet for many, many years, and nothing for her. And this is just like, it's so sweet for her. It's a really cute fit. It's super cropped, and she is tall, so it is extra cropped on her. If at some point she wanted it to be longer, I could, like, because these are like join as you go. That's how the motif is, but I could just knit a row that's join as you go, and then one row just whip them on, and it would look pretty similar if I wanted to add length at some point. I do have extra yarn of all the colors. This again is Debbie Bliss Cashmerino that I just had in stash. All of it is. 3 of them are like the tonals, and they have like a little bit of like tonal variegation in them. Like you can see there's like dark and light bits, and then this one does not, but the gray does. So it's got a little bit of depth in it. Where I finished joining this side. This was the last side to go. Maybe like Monday night or Tuesday night. It was Tuesday night. And I was like, I have to do this, at least this. And then Wednesday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can join like just the front and backs, see how that goes. And then it's all single crochet join, you guys. That's the easiest part. It was so fast. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll do the button band later. Again, I have the mornings off, and my mother-in-law was actually like doing an activity with her. So I was just like sitting in my office knitting a little, or, you know, crocheting a little bit. And I was like, you know, I'll just see what it's like to do the button band. And you do the button band in a size, two sizes smaller of millimeters. Like, so I think I did, the pattern calls for 2.75 for the squares. I used a 3. And so I used a 2.5 for the join, and like the pattern calls for 2.25, right? And I was like, or for the button band. And I was like, that's going to be weird and weirdly tight, but it's not actually. It just gives it a little bit more structure. 5 rows? It's 5 rows button band. So it was like really, it went really fast. And I actually had a couple meetings in the afternoon where I finished it. And then so you can see my cute little buttonholes. They're just yarn overs. So we're going to have to see what buttons fit. But yeah, this is not dry yet. Like, it's not sopping wet, but it's very, very damp still. So I need to lay this back down. But I'm really glad it's done, and it's really cute. I love it. I don't know if you got a good view of it. Look at that. It's so cute. So I'll show it again next week, and I'll show a picture of it either on her body with no head or just hanging up probably. But yeah, I mean, it's adorable. I'm in love with it. So that's the mini Battenburg. That's by Gina Fama Rockenwagner in the Mini Palm book. I might knit some other things from that book. There's a lot of bulky stuff, and so I'm just not really ready for that right now. I don't know if I'll knit any more this year. There are a couple of really cute like colorwork sweaters. It's got sizing all the way up to 10. But there's definitely some more things I'll knit from there. There's a really cute pig in there too that you can knit. I don't know if it's quite as seamless and fun, so we'll see the instructions first and then I'll decide. Okay, but I did make the 4 to 6 year size, which was the right size for her, you guys, because it's so cropped. I mean, it's really close to the 2 to 4 size, but that little bit of extra body is great for her. It's really, yeah, it's great. Oh, and also blocking this, and I'm sure you kind of saw now, everything's laying, they were like a little bit ripply and everything's laying a lot better now. So, and I didn't pin or anything. I just laid it on the drying mat. That's all I have to say. Yeah, pretty fun. I have 3 whips to talk about and that's it. So let's dive in. The first one is the one I was talking about last. I usually do this cast on order, everyone, right? I'm going to keep the snake to the end for the foreseeable future, probably just until it's done, till the end of the year. But I did have this cast on last week, which is my Alpine Bloom. I did not put on a marker, but I remember being almost done the second. I had not yet joined in my bright color. So that's about where I was. And I am nearly done the color. I think I have 2.5 rows left. I just could not. Last night I was done. It's okay. My row gauge is off, so I'm going to be slightly longer yoke depth. I was worried about this, but that's for the size I picked, which is smaller than I would like pick maybe for a raglan, like inch-wise, because I'm doing a size 4, which is 48 inches. The recommended ease on this is something like 2 to 8 inches of ease, which is a pretty big range, but I liked the projects where it looks like a little bit closer fit, especially, you know, there's tons of projects for this one, for me to look at people who are, you know, about my size or just like my similar body type, different size. I liked the slightly closer fit. So I went with a size 48. The yoke depth on that is a little bit smaller. So I was like, okay, this will be fine. I put it on, like halfway on barber cords last night just to see where it was sitting, and it's about perfect, but I had like 5 rows left and I was like, listen, I'm not going to split for sleeves and do some weird stuff. I'm just going to finish those 5 rows. The 5 rows are going to add about an inch. I know that's going to change the look a little bit, but like that is okay with me. I do think this will block out nicely, but I don't think it'll block much longer. I think it'll block a little bit, like it'll bloom and it'll block this way. I'm obsessed with this. I can't even. I love it so much. Okay, I'm back to a 3 color row. Here. I will put a picture up though of me working on a 4 color row, what my hand looks like, because I had all 4 colors across the ring. Slow, so slow that roll, just because I had a lot of floats to catch for the colors. So I was, that's really why it was so slow. Making sure it stayed on the color chart, obviously, but it's the, for both of the 4 color rows is like the very beginning of this stem and the very end of this stem, because there's flowers on either side of that. So you've got the flower color, the last color of, it's like the last row of the big flower, the background color, and the first row of the leaf color. And that leaf color then only comes around every like 20 stitches. So you've got to catch it a bunch of times behind, and yeah, see how that works. So I definitely, you want to see the float side? I definitely have some chaos here. They look pretty good. Yeah, they look pretty good, but they're plentiful. I'm obsessed with how it like came out. So and I'm on my last of the little stars, and I literally have like 2 rows left. I have like a couple of repeats, 4 repeats until this row is done, and then yeah, I have like 2 rows left. I just could not last night, but that is okay because I just want it to be split for sleeves by flock. So I'm not split for sleeves yet. So once I'm done the chart in 2 rows, which I will finish tonight during editing probably, I think I've just like a couple of rows of black, one row of black, and then I split for sleeves. And if it's more than that, I'll honestly just do 1 row of black and then I'll split for sleeves, and that will be great for me. Obsessed. And you really want that extra row. Well, at least I will, because picking up the underarm stitches, I don't want to do that in any floats or any like of the color changes, so it doesn't pull at all. So just having 1 static row is really helpful for that. Anyway, so this is probably what I'll be working on at flock, because I really don't have anything else on my needles. I can't take the book snake, though that would be hilarious. I mean, like, I'd have to bring a bunch of colors with me, but like, wouldn't it be funny if I just had the snake around my neck walking around knitting it? That'd be hilarious. Anyway, here we are. I don't want any other colors connected. I also need to be split for sleeves, so I'm not trying to do that while I'm at flock. But I have all the way through tomorrow too, so I will be fine. And again, that size 4. All of that yarn is Pearl Soho Linen Quill. I showed you all the colors last week. And this is, I don't think I told you like yardage. It's 109 yards for 25 grams, for what, 436 or something for 100 grams. That's what math is. And then it's 50% fine Highland wool, 35% alpaca, 15% linen. So yes, beautiful, lovely. I think the combo is great. Oh, I didn't tell you what I did for that. This is charted, obviously. I mean, I guess that's not obvious. Color could be not charted, though. That would be really wild. It's charted, but it is just black and white, just one, you know, a 2 color, because a lot of people, again, did this with Spin Cycle. So I took the chart and went into Stitch Fiddle, which is something that I love. I think it's the greatest thing ever. You don't have to pay for it. You get just like a certain amount free, and there's some features that you don't get for free if you don't pay for it, but it's not very expensive anyway. You don't have to pay for it. And you can go in and make charts. You can make charts for cables, you can make charts for crochet, you can make charts for knitting, you can make cross stitch charts in there too. I think they do like pixelated image to chart also, which is cool. But I did just remade the chart with as close as I could get in the little color grabber thing to these colors to see what I would like. And I already thought that I wanted the big flower to be bright pink, and I was just kind of playing around with it a little bit. And I then just used that. Stitch Fiddle has a new feature that when you go, as long as you're signed into your account and you go into a chart and back and forth, it will save where you are, which is amazing. Maybe that's not a new feature. Maybe it's just the last time that I used Stitch Fiddle for a chart, like used it as the chart. It was like my Haley sweater, which was last year. And that I was using a pattern, like a chart from somebody else. So every time you go back in, it's not, you're not logged in, it's not your own chart. So it just doesn't remember where you are. Anyway, if you're logged in, it does remember. Okay. That's all I have to say about that so far. Really loving it. That pattern is by Caitlin Hunter, who is Boylan Knitworks. It is my first Caitlin Hunter pattern for me, I believe. I made Mike's last year, earlier this year. And I've heard some things about her fit being like a little bit long and yoke and stuff. So I was kind of being conscious of that, but also it is what it is for a chart like this. And you can split early and just have, if it had been a little bit longer, I would have split and put the leaf in the underarm and going up ways in the armpit and stuff. But I didn't need to do that. So I'm not doing that. My next whip to talk about is a new cast on, and I have thoughts and feelings about it. And honestly, the thought and feeling is I don't know if I'll quit this project. So I wanted to cast on my no sweatshirt, and I did. This is a pattern by Park Williams, who is Park and Knit on Instagram. This is what it looks like so far. This is the wrong side because it's the knit side. This is the like actual what it would look like. I'm not sure if I love this color. It's a sweatshirt, so it's also just like a throw over thing, which is fine. I am using yarn that I thought would be fun because it is like very much a summery type yarn. Knowing that, I knew that it's like cotton, linen, cashmere, and silk. I'll tell you about it in a second. So I knew that. The hand feel is like fine, actually. This is quite springy of yarn. I don't know what the mix is. It's got like a lot of good spring to it, but it is very crunchy feeling. I washed it, and I never mid-project block. I never do it. I don't have the patience for it. I did it because I was like, wow, I don't know if I can continue. I maybe hate this yarn, just like the way it feels when knit. But I will say, you can actually tell already. It did bloom. It does feel softer by like some degrees. Not as much as I had hoped. But but I do think like it'll wear really nicely, so I might continue. I just don't know if I like, it's the combo of, I don't know if I love the color, and I don't know if I love the feel of the finished that is making me hesitate. I feel more positive about it than I did pre-washing, so maybe that's a sign to continue. I also have had this yarn forever, and this is not a reason to use it. You can not use it if you decide. I was gifted this yarn. Here's what it looks like in the ball. They are on like little cardboard tubes. That's why it's so firm. This is from String, New York City. The base is called Oasis. Okay, so this is what I have written down for the content. It is 45% linen, 33% cotton, 11% cashmere, 11% silk. And I think that's truly like part of the issue with it, but why it feels that way is the linen is very linen-y. I do know that softens with wear, so I am hopeful this will feel softer, and it is going to be really summery, right? So like it'll have a lot of nice breathability and be like nice to wear. Where I washed it, I did a couple extra rows because I was like, no, am I like, this is softer, I can tell, but like how much softer? And you can kind of even tell the difference. Like I blocked here and not here, and it's like it is truly like more bloomed underneath. Like this looks like much spacier here than it is. On the back side, you can tell a lot too. Maybe you can tell even more actually on the pearl side. Like the ridges just like flattened out and feel much nicer down here. So, I mean, that's good. I think it's a little golder looking than I thought it was. It's supposed to be silver and navy. It is in the light more, but yeah. I don't know. Thoughts? Opinions, feelings. I'm you know, halfway through the raglan. This is also something I could bring with me. This is gonna, I'm not going to, because honestly, once I get in the round for the body for the Alpine Bloom, I don't have to think at all, and I can just knit while I'm there. I'm not gonna get a ton done. You pick up a knit and start chatting a lot, but I'm gonna be able to get like a couple of inches done in the body on that, as opposed to trying to count and make sure I'm doing the right increases on this one. So yeah, I'm not sure. Is all I have to say. That's what I have to say about it. I'm also quite off on gauge, and I did do a baby gauge swatch, but this yarn is playing really differently with a lot of stitches, which is what happens a lot of times with swatches. So I am making a size extra large, which is 51 inches. That's what I started with for things. I think I figured out where I'm at right now on gauge, and I'll gauge swatch, or I'll gauge like check again now that I've washed it. But where I was at for gauge, I am going to be closer to the size bigger, the XXL, which is 54 inches. I don't want it to be that big. So, and I like a roomier sweatshirt for sure. So I don't, you know, I don't mind if it's a little bit over 51, but I think my row gauge is more off than my stitch gauge. So I was going to be like 54 inches. So 3 inches is not a lot of difference. I mean, like, yes, of course, that's not on gauge, but that, if your gauge is wrong, that's not a huge margin of error. I think it's something like 18 stitches or something. The row gauge though is more off, and so what I think I figured out is if I just skip 2 full repeats of the, you know, increase row, knit row, and then yeah, if I just skip that, I think I'll be okay in the raglan. It might be a tiny bit deep, and then I'll just adjust the body so that it fits well. And if the sweatshirt is like hanging down, I'm gonna wear things underneath of it, so it's really okay. So anyway, that's the current thought if I continue knitting this. I'm like 75% convinced I should just continue knitting this because I have all this yarn. I don't know what else I'm gonna do with it. This is also very expensive yarn. Okay, I did not pay for this yarn. I got this off of a, like, someone was moving and got rid of their whole stash on Ravelry many years ago, like 2019, 2018. Something like that. And I got this as part of that box, and I paid for shipping, and I got a lot of other stuff that I've already used from that. So I'm going to call this $0. This $0 yarn is $34 per skein, and they're not in business anymore. So this is also like, you can't get any more. It's like a closeout thing. So it's going to be like a harder thing to destash also. Anyway, I have a ton of it. I want it out of my stash pictures, and I wanted to use it because I wanted it for some summery thing. And I didn't think this was going to be like, you know, in the right side and the wrong side looks so crazy. This is the wrong side, like the purl side, which is the right side for this, and this is the right side. But anyway, in either of them, this is such a stark difference, this color, that I didn't know that I'd want a t-shirt in it or something, but I thought a throw over sweatshirt thing would be fun. So it's still the plan. I don't have yarn for this otherwise, and I would have to substitute that because it's on my make 9. Not that I don't need another excuse to buy yarn, but I really don't. I would like to use this. So yeah, I'm like 80% convinced I'll continue. We'll see how my heart feels about it once I actually pick it back up. But yeah, that's that. Okay. So I told you about the yarn. Oh, and I am using the recommended needle size. I am just using the recommended needle size, which is 4mm. I should have probably gone down, but when I did the gauge swatch, it was just like, oh yeah, that's really close. Part of it is also just because it has a different kind of elasticity than merino. I think once you add more stitches, it's roomier. And that's okay. I like the gauge that this is at for the project. I wouldn't want this to be any firmer just because of how the fabric is. So it's fine. I'll make those adjustments. Okay. Let's talk book snake now. That's it I have for projects. You guys, I have no projects on my needles. I'm gonna pick something up for a gift knit now because I have no more gift knits on the needles, and my socks, which I just did not pick up this week. I did pick out a pattern last week. I do have them ready. I don't think I'll bring those to flock though. Maybe I will. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that Sunday if I cast them on tomorrow or tonight. But I will probably cast something else on for myself soon. Like another t-shirt. That's what I'm gonna do, is another t-shirt, even though I have the Alpine Bloom on. This and the no sweatshirt are both on my make 9. So this is great for my make 9. I have a couple cardigans left for the rest of the year, so maybe I'll cast on one of those too. Who knows? We'll see. I kind of like having these projects finished pretty quickly, so maybe I won't cast on too much else. We'll see. Here's my Perpetual Forever project, the book snake. He's doing great. He is growing and growing, and he's a growing boy. Here is what we have so far this week. Just 11, I think. 11 or 12. So let's go over those books. I wanted to do 15. I picked out colors for 15, but I just didn't get to them all, and that is quite all right. I knew this week was going to be a little different because my mother-in-law's here. Here we are. Let's go through them. Okay, these were some of my fave books. This was the beginning of so that was the end of Q1 here. So this is the beginning of Q2. I read some great books in April. So here we go. This is called, By the Book. This is my meant to be. I think the rest of the meant to be are in here. So they're like the Disney inspired books. So this one is the Beauty and the Beast one, which is not really Beauty and the Beast colors, but it's the cover colors. It's got like this tanny color with the dark purple. And then this is called Strange Hymn. It's the second of the Bargainer series by Laura Thalassa. Oh, sorry. Meant to Be is all written by different people, and this one is Jasmine Guillory. I really like Jasmine Guillory. I've read a lot of her books. I think they're fantastic. Okay, and then this one is this is another Meant to Be book, and this one is called from Zoraida Cordova, called Kiss the Girl. That's obviously Little Mermaid. I thought that this was a very Little Mermaid-y color too. The background of that cover is like the purpley, but like this has some teal bits in it, just like her, it's like her outfit, but also that's like, her thing. Okay, then we've got Stay, which is the second of the WAG books, which is a Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. Serena Bowen's the other author on that. It's like a, dual written book, but that's not the exact right pink of the background color, but I really like it. Yeah. And then this one is, this one of my favorite, Mariana Zapata. Well, honestly, they're all my favorite. I just loved all of her books. This one is Culty. It's about the soccer player. This one is The Dead Romantics. I thought it was a pretty good match. It's not quite as dark as the cover, but I thought it was pretty good. This one here is, this is Six Scorched Roses, which is like 1.5. Is it called? Yeah, it's like 1.5 from the Crowns of Nyaxia. And this is like a side story about one of the generals and a human that he falls in love with. And it's actually, that was like a really worthwhile side story of that duology, making it not a duology, but whatever. This one here is Done and Dusted, which is the first of the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage. I enjoyed that book a lot. This is some handspun for me, held with kind of a like light blue fingering, tubular from my mom's, that like tealy light blue fingering. And that is the handspun for me is what is in Mike's sweater. So I have quite a lot of that left over. Then I have Legacy, which is an Elle Kennedy book. It's like the 5th from Off Campus. I've read that series like early last year and never read the 5th one, which is like 3 years later and like goes through all of their stories, like something different from all of them. This is kind of like the top cover part. It's like a little bit purpley, that more of this like light pink color, but just with like, it's really all about the girls. And so, yeah, I liked that color for it. So this blue one here is A Torch Against the Night, which is the second of An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I read the first one last year in the fall. Then we did it as our like book club book with me and a couple of friends from my knitting group. And then we did the second one also. So I did not reread the first one this year, but so this is the only one that's on here. But this was a very excellent fantasy series. And then this one is Deep End from Allie Hazelwood. And this is maybe one of my favorites. Like, because there's just way less about the science, whatever. But this is one of her college ones, like books about a girl. You know, she's at college. She's a Stanford diver. And I think like the student athlete perspective was very interesting to add into this. And I really loved the male character, the MMC in that one. So yeah, here we are with the book snake. He's growing, not terribly longer this week, obviously, but yeah, we're just gonna keep growing and growing and growing. Okay, I have some spin updates. First of all, I started and finished that bobbin that was Mum's the Word. So this is what that looks like here. It's pretty close to, I think, what I spun for the other ones, which I'm all hoping is a little bit closer to like a light fingering weight single, so that I'll get a DK when I hold it together. And I have one more I'm going to do before I kind of decide what pairs I'm going to apply. But this is really close to the Neapolitan in reality. I mean, I kind of knew that, but like it does look more close than I thought as I was spinning it. I haven't rewound any of the bobbins yet, but when I do that, I'll really know the color story, because it's like I'll see it all again really quick in like 5 minutes. So we'll see how I feel about that. I'm going to rewind bobbins though this weekend, or like Monday, and then do that. And then I'm gonna do the last one. So I'll have 4 to choose from to see what pairs I want, or if I do a triple, I don't know. We'll see what I decide. At knit night, Sylvan was winding off some of her full bobbins onto a knitty knotty. They were like fully plied and everything. And part of what she was winding off was this yarn. And she just decided before that even that she did not like the colors that how this had come out. Partly because there's a lot of, and I don't think that's a lot, there is a bit of the green and orange crossover, which appears browner. Honestly, it's like peachy and green, and she spun this from Rolex, I think, and it's mostly merino, and it's very soft and super lovely, and it's light and airy. But she just decided she didn't like it. And she had, this is a big, y'all, this is the most yarn. So I can't believe she did all this work and then decided she didn't love it. But I mean, I guess I've done that too for spins, where you're not sure of the combos until they come out. But it's these 2 full, and these are 3-plies. So it's these 3-ply bobbins, or 3-ply skeins, and then this was a leftover for a 2-ply. I washed them, and I have not counted yardage yet, but I will, and it's going to be like thousands of yards. I've got to guess that these are both like close to 600 yards. Like, they, not only do they feel like very lightweight, like airy, so I think you'll get good yardage. They are like a light fingering. They fluffed up pretty nice though. I mean, maybe that's just a fingering. They fluffed up really nice. This is also not really a color for me, but it's a great color for Theo. I might not use that right now because this is like really kind of precious yarn, but I did tell someone, I was like, I will probably hold them double and make her something, and she will love that. And so this is gifted yarn, but it is a spin type update. So there we go. That's my acquisition. I have not really counted my spins that much into my yardage. I was going to do that this year, but I don't know if I actually end up doing that. I don't think I did. So I don't know that I will for this either. Handspun is just living its own little bubble right now. That's okay. I honestly don't have so much that I'm worried about it, but I do have this whole little cubby here. So, I mean, it's not nothing, that's for sure, but that's okay. But I am going to wind them. I might wind them and then rewind them just because Sylvan wants to know the yardage that she got on it. And, but I don't know if I want to store them in the balls, like in cakes rather than in the skein. So we'll sort of see. I mean, I could use it right away for Theo, but it's just it's really cute. It's a very cute yarn. Okay, let's go on to what I read this week. Again, I knew I was going to have a lot busier of a week. Even the weekend was kind of crazy because my mom was gone as of Saturday, and she doesn't generally help us on the weekend, but we had a bunch of stuff we had to do. I had to do like help her leave on Friday night and then Saturday. And so, yeah, anyway, I finished A Court of Silver Flames, which is the fourth and only the last book that's out for A Court of Thorns and Roses, and by Sarah J. Maas. And I loved it. Obviously, I don't say that obviously. There are a lot of people that don't love the Nesta Cassian story. I love this one. It's extra smutty, and it's very fun. And Nesta is a bit of an annoying character, I will give you that, but I like her growth and transition, and I like that it's very different than Farah's, and I enjoyed it. For the second time, I enjoyed it. I'm almost done Crescent City, and that's a really long book, so that's the second thing that I've been reading, which is the first Crescent City book, which is called The House of Earth and Blood. I will say I am just making this note here. I don't know if Throne of Glass has it, but at least A Court of Thorns and Roses and Crescent City, they all have like dramatized versions. I don't listen to those in the audiobook, and I did listen to a sample of one because I was like, well, how is it different? There's like music playing in the background. I was like, what the heck is happening for this? No, I just listened to the first audiobook version, which is a single narrator for both of these. I'm enjoying that reread. I will tell you, there are two things I DNF'd this past week, and I don't normally tell you about this. I don't honestly not finish a lot of things. Like, even if it's like meh, I just usually finish it. Okay, the reading on my Kindle, I got some, I guess, like free books maybe through on Prime Day, or I don't remember, but I downloaded a couple things, and one of them was this. I like saw it just on Instagram, I think. It's called Black Ties and White Lies. DNF'd. I don't even think I got 4% through that book, and normally I'm like, you gotta give it 20%. The writing was really horrible, so did not finish. Do not recommend. I also think the premise was dumb. I didn't like the characters, so just like nothing about it was interesting to me in the beginning, and the writing was just, I could not get over it. Like, it was just like AI written. Like, it's bad. It's not good English. It's nothing about it great. The second thing is one that came pretty highly recommended, which is called The Unmaking of June Farrow. Who's that by? Oh, by Adrienne Young. And I just gotta tell you, I enjoy a minimal amount of time travel books. I think there are too many questions and too many holes that get left open in time travel books. Like, just generally speaking, I don't love that premise because I don't find them believable. I could suspend my disbelief in so many things, but that's one that I have too many questions. So I'm like, but what about this? And how would that affect this? And how does that... This one especially, I won't give you too many details, but there's time travel, but there's also like a multiple existence. And there's also just like this concept of living in two timelines at once that I was like, nope, cannot suspend my disbelief for this. I don't understand. And then, you know what? I was like, I'm going to spoil this for myself to see if there's like a resolution that I like, because I got about 45% of the way through, figured out part of this thing, and was like, oh, I hate this. I hate the decision. I don't like how this has been interpreted so far in the time travel. And then I got onto Reddit and I read there's like a book club thing about it, and so it had spoilers, and there were people like, well, I have this theory about what this is, what the, and I'm like, listen, if it's not clear enough what happened, especially with time travel, I think that to me feels like you didn't know how to close it as the author. So I was just like, no, thank you. And so I just DNF'd it, and that's okay. Like, I'm sure there are lots and lots of people, I know there are lots of people that enjoyed that book. It's got pretty high ratings. If you enjoyed it, good, great. That's not a thing that bothers you, but that is a thing that bothers me. So there we are. Actually, oh, and I read actually one more book this week. I totally forgot. I read it very fast, that's why. It's called The Kings of Kearny by Navessa Allen. Navessa Allen's the one that wrote that, like, Caught Up and Lights Out, I think, are the two books. Anyway, dark fantasy. This is still in the genre of dark fantasy, or sorry, dark romance. Both of those are dark romance, and this one falls in the genre of dark romance too, but it's about like a motorcycle club and like a motorcycle gang, like an illegal motorcycle club type thing. You know, think of like Hell's Angels or whatever. I don't actually even know if they're illegal. I don't know. Don't quote me on any of this. I have no idea. This to me very much felt like she was writing a fan fiction of the Sons of Anarchy, except for I've never watched Sons of Anarchy, so I don't know if that's true. But her description of the main character, I was like, that is Jax. I don't know many things, but I do know what Charlie Hunnam looks like. And she's describing Charlie Hunnam. But it was good fun. I really enjoyed it, actually. If you watched Sons of Anarchy and you like motorcycle clubs, maybe you'll like this one. I'm not saying, like, I'm not at all the rest of the personalities in the club and the makeup of it. Nothing is like that, I don't think. It's just that it's a motorcycle club. And I've not read many books about that, and I thought it was very interesting. I enjoy her books. They are, to me, like, they're more smutty than other things romance-wise. But I still think there is a falling in love aspect to it. It's just there's physical early, but this one was like a forced proximity, like a fake relationship. There's other things that fell into this one, and I thought it was like very entertaining. There is like danger, you know, I mean, really the dark romance of this is more that like there's other, like, their lives are in danger, not so much that he is particularly dark. Like, maybe I wouldn't even call this one a dark romance. Anyway, enjoyed it very much. I mean, he's like a morally great character though. Okay, this may be a shorter episode this week. I actually have no idea how long I've been filming, an hour and a little bit, but I got to head out and do some stuff. I was able to get everything, I think, talked about this week. Flock starts tomorrow, technically, or I guess today if you're watching on Friday. Sorry. Classes start Friday the 8th. The marketplace opens Saturday the 9th and is open all the way through Sunday the 10th. Both days are like 10 to 5-ish, 10 to 3, I don't know, something like that. I'll be there for the most part. I think for the whole day tomorrow is the plan, and then Sunday we'll sort of play it by ear. Might go a little bit later, maybe do brunch first, or maybe dip out a little bit early. I am not really going to shop. I'm going to hang. So, but I will be shopping. Obviously, I will be walking and seeing everything. I'm going to spend dollars. I just may not be getting a ton of yarn, or I'm going to just be a little bit more strategic in picking. I'm not typically one that buys single skeins anyway, but there are some things for like non-superwash yarns that to try them out. I might do some hats, and so I may buy a couple of single skeins. We don't know. We'll see. But I definitely want to buy some spinning bats, like some bats for spinning. I think that's kind of like highest on my priority list. Other than that, I plan to just hang out. So I will be wandering the showroom floor quite slowly. I will also try to be knitting on the stairs. If you see me in either of those places, please say hi. Even if I'm hanging with my friends, come say hi. We're all super nice. But yes, we are doing our meetup on Saturday at 3 p.m. We are going to meet at the base of the stairs. So if you are not on Discord and you still would like to join us and etc., please meet us there. We will take pictures. We will hang out and knit then. That's the plan. I'm really excited. it's so fun to like meet all of you, especially, and like get to hang out and chat about stuff. I love to see what you're actually working on. I think we'll have like a good 10 or so people join for the picture. So it won't be a gigantic group, but yeah, please come. Make sure you wear your Toru knits. I will be wearing for the photo my Uptown tee, and I'm really excited about that. So it's the only thing I think I'm gonna pack with me for pictures. And yeah, I'm like really excited to see everybody. There's lots of friends, internet friends and real life friends that we'll be able to see and meet up with. So that's what I'm most excited about for Flock, is meeting up with people. Yeah, I'm just really excited to chat with friends, knit with friends, see what you've made, talk about future plans. I mean, those are all like different hobbies based around knitting, right? Buying things. I will touch everything. I'm going to be really good this year. This is like tap reminder to myself. Be really good this year about writing some notes on my phone. Whatever base of yarn that I liked, if I liked some of the colors, if I liked colors in a different base, but I like that base, then I can always reach out to dyers later or see if they bring it back. And yeah, I'm so excited. We are wearing our green knits on Saturday too. So like during the day, if you see me walking around, I'll be wearing my green Nordlies button down shirt. So you can find me in the crowds. And yeah, I'm so excited. I hope I get to meet a bunch of you this weekend. And otherwise, sorry if you're having some Flock FOMO. I will be posting some stories and some other things while we're there. But I hope you get to join whatever like fiber festival is near you, or you can travel to one this year, because it does really, just like we have such a good community. Fiber artists are such a good community. They're so supportive and kind, and we get to just share this thing we love so much. And so yeah, I'm really excited to see people live. Thank you so much for joining and watching this week. As always, if you give me a thumbs up, that's really helpful to my channel. But subscribe. I'm here every week for updates. I will see you next week. I will have all my fiber acquisitions and fun extra things to talk about. And I can't wait to tell you how everything went. Hopefully it was great. That's my only wish, that I had a great time. Stretch, move your bodies, enjoy your fiber crafts, and I will see you next week.